Ultimately, the best thing that has ever happened to me is coming to terms with who I am and having a relentless or a unforgiving marketplace to force me to look at who I actually am. And this has been really, really forgiving for myself, or very much a sort of deep thing where I've had to think about who I am and what I'm about. And all of these things that we classify as weaknesses and flaws and realize that's just my traits. It's just who I am. It's just how I actually grew up in my experiences. So we often classify these things, and as I've gotten older, I've realized I have learning disabilities. I The only test I've ever passed was the test for ADHD. Man, that was an easy test to pass. And I think I actually have dyslexia. That I've been looking up on it. I'm actually 100% sure I have it. So one of the things that I have come to realize is that these things are not necessarily some sort of weakness, but it's a trait of who you actually are. It's the way that you see the world. And because I have those things and the way that I see the world is completely different, it allows me to look at the world and say, wait a minute, I can do this differently. Wait a minute, I'm totally fine with taking a little bit longer at this test. I used to take tests, and all the tests that I ever take were so long. I would take forever. I'd be the last person every time to take the damn test. And yet I realized that actually it's just the way that I do things. I'm slower. I look at the world differently. Now, this has been a wonderful thing now because I realize that I don't have to impress anybody. I have a lot more empathy of other people that are going through similar experiences. Yes, I realize that there is a market that exists, and that market prevents you from doing certain things at this moment. It doesn't mean that you have to give up. And I think that has been one of my strengths. If you were going to talk to, I would love for everybody to listen and hear from my family, because they would say this: I don't give up. That's the thing. I'm the last. And man, I'm going to be the last every single time. And even when I'm not giving up, I'm the last. And people don't understand that. I just don't give up until it actually happens. And the reason why I do this is because of these traits that I've always had. I've just realized that I'm just behind everybody else. And so it gives me this staying power that nobody else seems to have. And then I get frustrated when I see other people when they don't have this staying power. And the reason why I actually have it is just because it's been my thing. I realized that my whole life growing up, when I was a little baby even, things just took longer. And so it gave me some stickiness that allows me to do things a lot longer than everybody else, which turns into my superpower in the long run. And I want you to realize that a lot of these things that we call weaknesses and these things that we should give up on ourselves and make fun of ourselves and all these kind of things, we don't understand them yet. We completely misunderstand them. We think that because we have this cookie cutter way of viewing the world, we think that this is the way it should be and everybody should be the same. Guess what? Those things are your gifts. They're your unique traits. The fact that I grew up in the middle of nowhere and that I had to have this journey of continuously going from step to step to step. I grew up in Northern Ontario in a town that has 6,000 people. The closest city was 4 hours away. All of these things, people would look at it and say, oh my gosh, you're going to end up with doing nothing, going nowhere. But it's far from the truth. It was the reason why I continue to keep going. It was the reason why I try to build empathy and look at my family and build my family. Whenever somebody in my family is struggling, I'm the person that tries to be there at that particular moment. And I want you to realize that all of these things that you're experiencing, or if it's harder for you, these are gifts. These are good things that somebody else, if they had it, they would see the world completely differently. And man, they would be in a much better position. So I want you to see these things. Whether you feel like an outsider and isolated, those are gifts because you're going through experiences that not a lot of people go through. And you simply have to figure out, how are they a gift for me? Why is this a thing that was gifted to me? And it's a journey of going through that. All of these are stories that you go through, and man, it's a pain in the butt. I would never have started the Reciprocity Project if things would have went easy and it would have been this easy progression of me becoming successful and all that kind of stuff. No, it's because it was hard that I actually did this. And I realized that I'm not the only one. There has to be other people out there maybe they're feeling isolated. Maybe they're feeling they're not fitting in. Maybe they're realizing that this path is a lot more difficult than they thought it was. These are important things to have. So if you feel down on yourself today, I want you to realize, why is this such a gift to me? How can I actually improve this? What is the thing that is allowing me to feel this way? And how can I channel it in such a way that I can do good things with this? Every day, you have to view yourself as a gift. You have two choices. You can either view yourself as, you're a disaster and you're full of weaknesses. And yes, some days, man, if somebody gives you the wrong trigger and you're going to go down that path, it's a miserable day. But some days, and I encourage you to practice this more and more and more, that if you just simply say, wait a minute, that's just me. I'm just this goofy person, but it's a wonderful thing that I actually have. And you go down that path, man, the world is so much different. And all of a sudden, you have a lot more opportunities by doing that. Try to view yourselves, all the things that you have, as just gifts. And it's very hard to do, but man, it makes all of the difference. And it requires you to grow, because you have to give the world the middle finger who told you that those are weaknesses and that they're somehow bad. But you get up and you get going and you try again. And that's it. Every day, keep going, keep following that back path of you recognizing that you have unbelievable gifts. All right, take care. Have a wonderful day.